Hey everybody, good morning. My name is Kyle Feedy. I'm the education specialist at AMA here, and I want to be the first to welcome you to AMA Junior Camp 2021. We are really excited that you're all here. We have a lot of really cool things that we're going to share with you this week, and we're really glad that you've chosen to spend some time with us. To help us get started, I want to introduce the AMA Education Director, and this is really easy for you guys to remember. His name is also Kyle. This is Kyle Jarris. He's going to be joining us here.
Hey,
Good morning,
guys.
Kyle.
So happy to be here. Thank you so much for the intro, Kyle. I think, it's safe to say we've put a lot of effort into junior camp this year, building on the success of last year. And Kyle Feedy is awesome. I'm happy to see him jumping in and introducing things. And, we're here to have some fun. We're here to do some learning. But also, there are a few things we need to know as we move forward in this process. And that is that, while we're enjoying this as a live stream, of course, we're also going to be jumping in and saving this out so it's on demand in the future. So part of that means, we're going to be presenting the material, and we'll take our time and do it well. Kyle's an awesome guy at presenting this stuff for you. But if you start to fall behind, that's okay. Like we all do. Just go ahead and hit pause on your screen and then catch up and then continue on with the stream. And it's going to work out really well for you. Of course, Kyle and I and the rest of the education team, we're going to be available in the future. You can reach out and ask us questions. If you have something that's kind of tricky, we can certainly jump in and help. You can email us at education@modelaircraft.org.
All right. Well, if everyone is ready to get started, we will jump right in and get going here. So some of you may already be familiar with what I have in front of me. Some of you may not be. That's all right. This is our AMA Junior Camp Flight Pack. So this contains everything that we're going to be using this week to build our projects and learn as much as we can about getting started with model aviation. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my box here.
This is the exciting time when we get to open them up and see what all's in here, right?
Exactly. It's like Christmas in, what month is it? It's March. It's March. Christmas in March. Although, for those of you who are watching this on demand later, it might not be. So
that's fair. Well, and remember, if you didn't get a Flight Pack 2, all these are downloadable. You can check out the information. They're PDFs with the templates. It's all online. You should have gotten an email when you pre-registered that has all those links. So you're still in business.
All right, good to hear. So there's a lot of stuff in this box. There are a lot of envelopes, and we've taken the liberty of marking them out for you so you know exactly which projects contain in which envelope. So obviously, we are going to be starting out with project number 1. So if you've got that envelope, go ahead and get this out. And also, throughout the week, we are going to be using our AMA toolkit. So that is going to be the white cardboard box. Let me scoot this out of the way here. There is a white cardboard box in here. And this contains all of the little tools and gadgets and things that you're going to need in order to put your projects together. All right, this is what that looks like. And for those of you who don't have flight packs, this project that we're starting off with today is really easy. All you're going to need is a sheet of printer paper, 8.5 by 11 inch. And if you need a pair of scissors, you can get a pair of scissors. So if you have those things lying around, go ahead and get them out. And for those of you who have flight packs, all you're going to need is your project number 1 envelope. And then, like I said, in the toolkit, all we need today is our pair of scissors. There's lots of other stuff in here, and we're going to be using all of it as the week goes on. But for today, we're starting off with something pretty easy and something that a lot of you may already be familiar with. So just to give you a little preview here, this is what we are going to be working on this morning. This is our T-plane. It's a paper airplane. A lot of you probably have folded paper airplanes before. They're a really fun, really easy way to get started with model aviation because, they're really easy to fold and they're a lot of fun to throw and fly around however you want. But this paper airplane is a little bit different. This one is, you can see, is slightly different from the usual, like normal dart-shaped paper airplane that maybe you folded and flown before. This one is shaped like a T. That's why we call it the T-plane. But it's also shaped a little bit more like an actual airplane, right? It's got wings here. It has kind of a tail shape here. And that's going to allow us to do a lot of really cool things with this airplane that you wouldn't be able to do with a more normal style paper airplane. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this. So I'm going to set that aside. And I'm going to go ahead and open up my project number 1 envelope here.
While you're opening that up, Kyle, I'm going to share real quickly. When you first showed this idea to me, I was super excited because it had some of those different control surfaces that really do relate to full-scale aviation. So, this is a great paper airplane that does teach a lot of the fundamentals about how airplanes fly, what center of gravity is, what an aileron or an elevator does. So, yeah, you're in for a treat, guys.
All right. So I've opened up my envelope there, and we've got a few sheets of paper in here. There's going to be a booklet here that shows you all the instructions for how to put this paper airplane together, and a lot of other background information that you can read and learn more about how this thing actually works. But also, we've got several sheets that are marked out with a template here, and this is what we're going to use to put together our paper airplane. So you can make multiple ones of these. You can build a whole fleet of these. But I'm just going to work with one for right now. It's a good way to start off. And if you don't have a flight pack, if you don't have the templates, this again is just a regular standard printer size piece of paper, 8.5 by 11 inches. You can use just a blank sheet of paper, and it'll work just as well. It'll fly just as well, and you can decorate it however you want. You can decorate the template however you want too. So we'll go ahead and get started here. So you can see that the template here is divided in half down the, I guess it would be hamburger style. So the first thing we are going to do is we're going to take our scissors and we are going to cut the paper in half right along this dotted line here.
Now, I'm going to jump in really quickly and say, if you are working in a classroom with a bunch of other students, or if you have a lot of other people that are also building the same airplane, make sure you put your name on yours, because my guess is that yours is going to be the best one that flies out of all of them, and everyone else is going to want it. So you can prove that it's yours.
That's a good point. That is a very good point. And there is a pen in your flight pack also. So if you need to get one of those out, and a pencil. So if you need to put your name on your template or on your paper airplane once it's finished, you can do that. All right, so I've got my paper cut in half here, and you can see that one half is labeled A, one half is labeled B. You'll never guess that we're going to start with piece A here. So I'm going to set B aside for a second, and we're going to start with A. So you can see that there's a line right down the middle here, and again, we are just going to fold this sheet in half right along that dotted line. And the thing about paper airplanes that's really important, even if you've made them before, and if you've watched any of our quick project videos before, you've probably heard me say this even, that you really want to make sure that the edges and the corners line up exactly. All the tiniest little details in how you fold a paper airplane really go a long way into making sure that it flies exactly the way you want it to, especially when it's a paper airplane like this. So we're going to fold it in half. And you want to make sure that you give it a nice sharp crease. And
while you're doing that, Kyle, I'll mention too, the printer, when it printed these templates, was off just a little bit. So go by the paper, not by the dotted line specifically, because you'll be like a 1/16 of an inch off, which may not sound like a lot, but it would be bad.
It really is. So like I said, you want to make sure that you have the edges and the corners lined up exactly right before you crease. And when you do crease, make sure that it's a nice, sharp, strong crease so that when you unfold the paper again, there is absolutely no doubt as to where it is. So there we go. Folded my paper in half and creased it. And now you can see that there's two diagonal lines here. This is all probably very familiar to you if you've made a regular dart-shaped paper airplane before. But we're going to go ahead and follow these dotted lines also. And we're going to take the corner down so that this edge of the paper lines up along that center crease that we just made.
And folding papers, I mean, just like any origami thing, you get better with practice. Exactly. And that's why you've got 3 of these templates. And, you could probably find some paper around the house too to continue trying these, and you'll find it really interesting as they fly a little bit differently each time, just depending on how you set them up. So.
I made lots and lots and lots of paper airplanes when I was younger. I filled up a whole big tub full of them. And I think the ones at the bottom of the tub were flattened back out into flat sheets of paper at the end of it. But it was my favorite thing to do when I was younger, and it's still one of my favorite things to do is try out a new design and see if I can get it just a little bit better than the last one.
Yeah, I'll jump in really quickly and say, you mentioned quick projects. We do have some other, paper airplanes available there. And to your point too, as a kid, like there are so many other great people out there that do paper airplane projects. There's paper airplane books. You can look online. There's a ton of resources. So let this be the springboard to a paper airplane experience, not the be all and end all.
All right. So this is our A piece that we've folded here, and we can go ahead and set this aside now. And we're just going to grab piece B now. And you can see that it's marked out very, very similar to piece A, except we are going to be doing it hot dog style instead of hamburger style. So we've got that dotted line right down the center, and we're just going to fold it in half, again, using the edges of the paper as our guide, not necessarily the dotted line. But again, you want to make sure it's all lined up exactly right and that you crease it nice and sharp. There we go. And I'll open that back up. And then just like sheet A, we've got our diagonals here up in the corners, and we're going to take those corners and we're going to fold them down so that that edge of the paper lines up right along the crease. And like I said, these steps are probably very familiar to you if you've ever made a very simple paper airplane before. And that's what I like about this design, is that it's very, very simple. It's very easy. There's no tricky steps. There's no like tucking corners under other corners or collapsing things together like in origami or anything like that. And if you do what Kyle J was saying and you look up other paper airplane designs, you will find those very quickly. There are lots of really crazy paper airplane designs out there. This one is pretty simple, but I like it because it's also really, really, really interesting. It can fly in a lot of different ways.
I got a question for you, Kyle. As you're thinking about this, what's the longest you've ever spent on a paper airplane, like as a kid? Like, because these can get really, really difficult.
Yeah. On a single paper airplane, probably, there was one that I spent the better part of an hour working on when I was first learning how to make it, because it had those crazy origami folds in it.
Yeah.
Where it all kind of had to collapse together, but it was a paper airplane that had retractable landing gear.
Okay, I have not built one with retractable gear. That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool thing.
Nice.
I think I've actually got one at my desk here, but we'll save that for another time, maybe.
Send us an email if you want to see that, and Kyle will take a picture and send it back to you.
There you go. I didn't make that one out of a template though, so it's not gonna look quite as nice.
Yeah.
But all that to say, we've got our two sheets of paper here now. We've got sheet A, we've got sheet B. They look very similar. But it's time to put these things together and get our paper airplane ready to fly. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take sheet B and we're just going to slip it into sheet A right here under the flaps. So we've got you kind of see it starting to take shape, right? You can kind of see where we're going with this. So once that sheet B is slipped inside of sheet A, we're going to take this whole paper and we're going to flip it over. And we have all the things that we need to make the rest of our folds already on the paper. One thing I really like about this design is that you don't need to measure anything. You don't need to like mark out exactly like, oh, is that 5/8 of an inch or is that exactly the right measurement? Because it's self-measuring. You're just folding things in half and you're folding things in half again. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this nose corner here of the paper and we're going to bring it down so that it touches the edge of sheet A. Right here at the bottom of where sheet A is. You want to make sure
another piece of this this aircraft that I loved, Kyle, was the blunt nose, because it's a lot safer.
Exactly. And I think you briefly mentioned at the very beginning that one of the important things about model aviation, whether you're flying a paper airplane or a big fancy model airplane, is that center of gravity is something that's really important. We're not really going to go into a whole lot of detail about center of gravity right now because we're getting started with something pretty simple. But it is important that the front of a paper airplane is heavier than the back of a paper airplane. Give it that momentum through the air. So that's So in addition to being safer, it also gives you that kind of added weight in the front, making it all blunt like this. We made that fold. We're going to unmake that fold now. So we have that nice crease right there. And now we're just going to take that top corner again, and we're going to fold it so that it touches the crease we just made. And of course, you want to make sure that it's also lining up with the crease down the middle here, so that it doesn't get off center. So we're going to keep that right there. And then we're just going to redo that first fold down. And this is what we've got.
Cool. I'm with you, buddy.
All right. So now we are going to flip it back over so we can see the design on the template if that's what you're working with. And we are just going to fold it back in half right along the very first fold we made with our pieces here. So we're going to fold it right back in half. And if we've been careful, all the edges and all the corners should line up exactly right when we do this.
I'll be honest, I had to smash mine a little to make it work.
This one does have layers to it, so you might have to do that.
It's part of the process, guys, and that's why you have multiple templates if you got a flight kit.
Exactly.
Or why they send reams of paper in 500 packs. You got 500 planes you can build.
All right, so we've only got one more step in this paper airplane, and it is making the wings. And as we will learn throughout the week, wings are obviously the most important part of any aircraft, model or not, and this one is no different. Paper airplanes are no different. So what we are going to do is we are going to take one side of the paper here, and we are going to fold it down. And the way that you want to measure this is so that this back end of the piece this back end of the plane that is made out of piece B, there we go, is you want this to be folded in half. So we want this corner here to touch the center crease of the plane. That's a good way to measure it out. Now, as I'm looking at this, though, I'm noticing that there is actually not a dotted line marking that out, which is fine, because now you have multiple templates. So if you want to experiment with making one of these airplanes with bigger wings or with smaller wings, you can try that out. But this is a good way to start. This is a good medium ground to start with.
Well, that's one of the greatest things about model aviation, and especially paper planes like this, is you do have chances to make those little tweaks, little changes. You can increase, the wing surface. Like that's part. And hey, you've got paper clips in the flight pack. You could add weight. You could put weight in different places and see how it does. There were a few comments saying, I know CG, I know about that. That's awesome. This is all building on those foundations, and you learn more and more and more.
All right, that's great. And we're just going to do exactly what we just did. On the other side, we flip the paper over, and we are going to flip or fold the other wing down. Again, we want to make sure they match, at least for this first airplane that we make. If you want to make an airplane, if you want to use one of your other templates to make an airplane with one big wing and one small wing, go for it. But let's start off with one with two identical wings, just to start off with. It's Monday morning. We should keep things easy. All right, and this is the last fold that we have to make. So if you pick your airplane up and you hold it like this, and then you open it up, we have exactly what I showed you at the beginning. This is our T-plane. This is our first model airplane that we've made this week. So I'd say junior camp is off to a good start.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's awesome.
All right, so, but now, we need to fly this thing. So one of the really cool things, like I said at the beginning of this video, is that this airplane has wings and a tail just like a real airplane do. And just like real airplanes use their wings and tails to control where they fly, you can also control how your airplane flies by adjusting the wings and tail of your T-plane. So you can see there, I'm just kind of curling the edges and corners of the wings and tail. Just gentle curls is really all you need. You don't need to crease them or fold them, because then it'll be really hard to get them back to another way. But if you just give them a gentle curl like that, you can make this thing do all kinds of different flight patterns. See, I was having some fun with mine. And one thing also that I've noticed about this design, just from personal experience, and you may find out something different, when you throw this airplane nice and gently with a very smooth kind of soft throw, it glides a really long way and it lands really smoothly on the ground and everything is nice and peaceful. But if you give this one a really hard toss, like if you throw it with a little bit of energy behind it, it'll do all kinds of crazy stunts. Like it'll do loop-the-loops, it'll barrel roll, it'll do some of the things that you see in the video. I think at one point it does an outside loop.
Yeah, I think this one. Oh no,
that one's kind of a wing over. There we go. There's an outside loop. Although it didn't quite make it back to the top of the loop.
That's okay. I mean, and that's one of the best parts of these is you get to play around and tinker with them, do different things. If you want it to conduct a left-hand roll or a right, all those things are possible with this simple airframe, which is, once again, why I was so excited when you came and brought it to me and said, I think this is going to be a good project to kick off camp. And I think it is. And if you've got friends with you, if you're building multiples of these, you can set up a runway in your living room or out in the yard or something like that and try and actually land it in different orientations or from different ways. See who's can fly the longest or the furthest. These are some of the competition sides of that. And all that comes down to how you tweak your airframe and how you launch it. So now, of course, it helps if you've got a balcony at home or some altitude. You can get them to go a little further and longer. But it's a really great project to have fun with.
Yeah, I really like this design. Like I said, there's lots of different ways that there's lots of ways you can fold it even. Like I said, you can have it with bigger or smaller wings. You can adjust the wings and tail all kinds of different ways. And once it's been flown all the different ways that you can think of, you can always make another one. And like both Kyle J and I have said, there are a lot of other crazy paper airplane designs out there. So if you enjoy this one and if you enjoy flying this one, look them up. Try to find as many different designs as you can and get as much practice as you can, because like I said, paper airplanes are a really, really fun hobby and they are a great way to get started with the hobby of model aviation. And we've got a lot of other great ways to get started with model aviation that we're going to be going over all throughout the week. So we are really excited to show you all the projects that we've put together. And this is, I think, like Kyle J said, this is the best way to start.
Yeah, get those foundations, those building blocks, in line and organized. And I've seen some great comments coming through the comment stream. Of course, continue to utilize that. And if you want to show us how your aircraft fly, throw it onto social media with mom and dad's permission. Use the hashtag iFlyAMA, and we'll see those. Of course, if you would like, you can send us an email with mom and dad's permission. If you have any questions or just want to share some of the flight footage or videos or pictures of you building these projects, not only this one, but all the other ones in the future as well as we do camp. And, we love seeing that stuff. It kind of gives us a great sense of, how you're exploring aviation, how you're exploring, observation, how you're thinking about this and making them do different things. And so it's really a wonderful opportunity for us to really share in your excitement too. So continue to send those out and to share them with permission if you have it. Kyle, what do we have going on this afternoon?
Well, this afternoon, we have our first guest speaker of the week, and we are going to have a guest speaker every single afternoon this week who's going to come on with us and tell us all about their experience with model aviation and what it's meant for them over the course of their life, all the cool things that they've got to do because of it. And they're going to even answer some of the questions that you have for them. So the speaker this afternoon is a lady named Laura Knowlton, and she has been a part of model aviation ever since she was a kid. She said that she told me that her family went to flying fields every weekend and that they flew model airplanes all the time when she was a kid, and she grew up and it's still one of her favorite things to do. And she's learned a lot over her years flying model airplanes and being involved with the AMA. She has a lot of really cool stories to tell and a lot of really cool things to share with us. And I hope that you guys make time this afternoon. It is at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time that she is going to be joining us, and we are going to be having a really cool conversation, and I hope you guys get a lot out of it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I mean, not only model aviation, but full scale aviation. I think her dad was a pilot for a long time and had his own plane and would fly him around. It's a really cool story, and definitely it's for all ages. Now, we'll start the conversation off a little bit, younger mentality in mind, and we'll grow it from there. So it'll be good. Feel free to jump in each of those times. But I'm really excited about tonight, this afternoon session as well. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm trying to look through the chats here to see if there's anything that's come up. Let's see. Yeah, the big free flight model that's in the kit. So yeah, that's the bonus project coming up. So at the end of the week, we'll build that together, and we'll give you some ideas on how to have a good time with it. Now, I understand it's there, and it's probably like burning within you to open it up and have fun. And if that's the case, if you just cannot wait, I totally understand. I don't know if I would have been able to wait too. There's instructions inside, and feel free to use those instructions to build it along with mom or dad or someone who can help you, because there's a few pieces in there to be really particularly careful about how you build it. It is kind of an advanced airframe for free flight, so you do want to be careful. So if you decide to take that plunge and jump in, I totally understand, but just take your time and be very careful. But if you could wait, that's even better, because we can do it together. and kind of that goes along with all of these pieces. We've got 5 projects, one of which you just did today. And then there's the 6th bonus, which, it's going to be the AMA beta, that free flight model that you have in there. And if you got the flight kits, it's all included. Now, if you didn't do a flight kit, if you're going to try and accomplish these tasks on your own, that's totally fine. It'll involve a few little variations in terms of what you can easily get. But it's hard to make an AMA beta on your own. If you decide you want to have a part of that, talk to mom and dad. They are available for sale. It's on our website, amaflightschool.org. You can take a look there and purchase those. And if you order them today, depending on where you're at, I can't make the promise, but hopefully it could arrive by this Friday, when we're going to be opening those up and playing with those. But they are available for sale. And if you go to that link, you can also find 4 different curriculum pieces that really talk about aviation and help you to get a further understanding using that airframe. That Kyle over here is the one that put those together. So there's a lot of great things to do with it, even if it just means going out to the yard and flying it. So
it's a really cool airplane. Mm-hmm. It is a very, very cool airplane, and it uses a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about this week. So if you do want to get a jump start on it, like Kyle said, totally understand. I probably would have done exactly the same thing. But if you can wait just a little bit longer, it'll be really, really rewarding for you, because you'll be able to understand everything about how it works just a little bit better. And that's part of the fun.
Yeah. That anticipation is something that's okay. It's okay to experience that and delayed reward, because it will be rewarding. So try to hold off if you can.
Well, all right. Again, like I said, thank you so much for joining us. I know that some of you guys are probably on your spring break, and this is how you've chosen to spend your time away from school, and that is really, really cool. Really cool. We are really excited about these projects. Like I said earlier, we really hope that you guys keep tuning in, and that you keep joining us for our guest speakers in the afternoon, because there's going to be a lot of really cool stories, a lot of really cool things to learn, and I can't wait to keep going with it.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited about this afternoon, excited about the rest of the week. And as we said, if you have questions, reach out. It's going to be fun.
All right. Well, we will see you then, guys.